Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to Talent Culture's T-Chat Radio. The World of Work is live now on the radio with Megan M. Biro and Kevin W. Grossman, because middle initials count.
Come down, turn the radio on. Take my hand, turn the radio on. Come on, my favorite song, baby. Let's dance, turn the radio on.
Welcome everybody out there in Talent Culture T-Chat Show land. It is another exciting new show, and today is Wednesday, November 11th. Man, does time fly. It is 1 p.m. if you're on the East Coast and 10 a.m. if you're on the West, and of course somewhere in the middle if you're in the middle. And mercy me, this is coming up on, it's actually in between this week and next, 5 years of T-Chat. With you as always is Kevin W. Grossman and of course the lovely and talented Megan M. Biro. Hello, Megan. 5 years.
Hello,
wow.
Kevin. Hello, community. 5 years. Can you imagine? Feels like just yesterday. It's been an absolutely amazing ride, and obviously there's been a lot of growth and change in the last 5 years, and I think we'll continue to see more of that, obviously, which is good. That means we're innovating, right? That's a good
Exactly.
thing. We like that.
So we started, I mean, when you think back, and again, we won't wax reminiscent too much, but when we first started, an hour, it was like an experiment. It was an hour long, just Twitter chat, all on Twitter. Five or six questions, something like that we presented to the community, and man, it just kind of took off. And then it was 3 years ago, that we really added a solidified version of the radio show. But then there was a separate day, and then they're together, and lo and behold, here's where we're at. Mercy.
Well, and I remember we were probably one of the very first communities of our kind, and I can actually almost safely say that 5 years ago, a lot of people weren't doing Twitter chats. They weren't doing that kind of real-time communication. I mean, I remember Leadership Chat was still around. You know, all of our friends, Lolly Daskell's chat was out there. We were kind of in that first or maybe second wave of Twitter chats. And, so much has changed in the way people consume and listen to content now. It's amazing.
Yep.
So,
it is.
we're going to continue to, have updates for everybody on how we're innovating over here and all that fun stuff. But, today's topic is actually, I like it because it's complex,
Yeah. Well, let's jump
it.
into that. So, speaking of it, first, real quick, want to thank all of our friends and sponsors out there in Talent Culture T-Chat Show land. That includes Dice and Smashfly and Career Builder and Workable and TalentWise and PeopleFluent. And I know, and Smart Search and iSIMS and Vizier and IBM Smarter Workforce and Jive. And what's interesting is that somebody a couple weeks ago kept telling me, man, you keep saying Talent Culture T-Chat Show so fast, like Peter Piper picked a peck of, I don't even remember. Okay, so let's jump into the show. This is what we're going to talk about. So last week.
Hey, Kevin, are you going to slow down or what? You're just
you're
moving it. Yeah, all right.
I don't even drink coffee. What's going on?
Are you jacked up on caffeine or what?
I'm not, actually. That's the irony. I'm not. It's just natural. A natural high. I did work out earlier this morning. It's probably I'm running on those endorphins still, right? There you go.
You're running on empty.
I know, running on good stuff. So listen, last week, that's all right. We're going to cut this to the chase, and you can introduce our guests in just a hop, skip, and a jump. So last week we talked about how to make meetings worth everyone's time, which is always a fun challenge every week in the world of work. And this week we're going to talk about the benefits of a blended workforce and the staffing challenges that it brings. Everybody knows, everybody's familiar with the fact that the way that we used to work is gone. We've got both full-time and part-time and contingent and contractors and freelance and self-employed entrepreneurial talent all working side by side. It's very much a blended workforce today. 5 generations and all different kinds and levels of work. So that's what we're really going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how building and managing the blended workforce presents challenges on almost every front, particularly when it comes to effectively sourcing and hiring contingent workers. And employers need to think about and hire, of course, talent differently, and that's what our guest is going to share with us today. So if you're listening, make sure to participate in the Twitter chat during the show, and, of course, during the Twitter chat portion, which will be 25 minutes from now at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So welcome, everybody, and let's introduce our guest.
Well, I am thrilled to introduce to you a man with various Twitter handles. He's very mysterious that way. Today, you will find him live with us at Bagai Sunil, BAGAISUNIL on the Twitters. He is the founder and CEO of Zenith Talent. He is a Silicon Valley entrepreneur who is literally transforming the way world-class companies think about and acquire talent. What's not to love about this, right? He blends vision, technology, business skills, honed in the most innovative corporate environments. This could be, the IBMs of the world, the EMCs and the Semantics, some large brand names that you guys probably know and recognize there. And he's created a new model for recruitment, which is being tapped successfully by large technology companies such as Google. Way back yonder in 2000, he founded Indosys, that's it, Indosys Corporation, now part of Zenith Talent, a company offering software and staffing solutions to the world's most successful businesses. Other name drops for you all: Microsoft, Brocade, Medtronic, Google, and IBM. Do they sound familiar to you? They do to me, because I spent many years in the staffing world myself. So those were most of those were actually on my client roster. So there you go. Back in 2012, Sunil founded Zenith Talent, including a new crowdsourcing model with profit sharing for recruiters, which makes everybody happy. And this offers really interesting ways, I believe, and it's really kind of an innovative space right now in the way talent is identified and hired globally. So without further ado, welcome, Sunil. I want to just say to everybody, we got an email from Sunil late last evening saying he was worried he lost his voice. So let's give him a round of applause. Yay!
Welcome.
Being here.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm very excited to be here.
Excellent.
So tell us just a little bit about what led you to Zenith Talent. What's on your mind today? Just give us a little backdrop on, where you live, and just kind of give us the 411, would you? Give us a scoop.
Sure. So I'm based here in Silicon Valley. And I've been here for quite a number of years, since '79. I was 5 years old when I arrived. And originally I'm from India. I spent time in India, in fact, from 2005 to 2008 in my adult life, and got to really get to know the country a little bit better. We lived out there. My daughter went to school there, so it was a fun time. But most of my life I've spent here in the U.S., in San Jose, California, because it's been home base. And yet in the last 15 years I've traveled and lived in several countries: Montreal, Canada, Czech Republic, and Prague,
nice.
And then obviously in India. So it's been a fun time.
Talk about multicultural, global, blended workforce, huh?
Well, that's
Absolutely.
Exactly the point, right? The only way you really get that perspective is if you're on the ground in some of these different countries, working with all these amazing individuals from all over the place. I've spent time and worked in Istanbul, Turkey, in Moscow, Russia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all over the world. And what I find fascinating is people are people everywhere. They all have similar aspirations. They all have dreams. What we call the American dream, I find now is more of the global dream. Everybody wants to succeed eventually, so it's very interesting.
Well, it's a new normal. We keep saying that, and I know that's hey, by the way, are we playing buzzword bingo? Is anyone going to give me a foul for that? The new normal, everybody. Should we talk about that today?
Let's see if we can get Sunil to say folks.
Let's do it, folks.
No, don't.
It's a long time thing, Sunil.
No,
this is one of Megan's not favorite words. Hey, but let's do this though, considering that it's the new normal. And so, why don't you tell us, Sunil, how you define blended workforce as it appears globally today, as it is today, and how it's evolved really since the internet age and over the last 2 recessions that we've had. Why don't you give us that baseline?
Sure, and for that I'll use both Google and IBM as an example. And if you look at Google, they have 60,000 employees and about $500 billion worth of market cap. Apple has 110,000 employees and close to $620 billion of market cap. Now, that's unheard of, except for now in this new era.
Right.
And the question we have to ask ourselves is, how are they doing it? Well, they certainly are not doing it with full-time employees, right? They're doing it with teams and scores of teams that are perhaps sometimes affiliated with the company, but not exactly directly working with the company. So in the case of Apple, they have a lot of strategic partnerships. In fact, they don't even manufacture much of their own products. All they do is design them, and then they build an ecosystem around them to make them come to fruition, right? So they'll have teams of folks that are strategic partners, outsourced individuals, offshore, contractors, consultants, all sitting and working along with their full-time employees. And that's the new norm again, borrowing your terminology.
Well, absolutely. It's not mine. Actually, I can't even take credit for it, please. It's just like so vastly out there in this blogosphere, right? But, a recent government report found that 40% or 40.4% of the U.S. workforce is composed of contingent workers. That's almost half, right?
Yeah, almost.
And it's growing.
It is growing.
Yeah.
It's just not going away. And Kevin, speaking of 5 years doing this, I want to say probably 4 years ago we had the same topic, didn't we? And it's been building and mushrooming ever since then. It's like, oh my God. It's amazing.
It is. But you know what, though? I would think all of the 3 of us on this call have experienced it in one way or another, though. We've all been in these different roles from an entrepreneurial perspective or a contractor and a full-time employee and launching our own businesses that contain all those in between. This is the world that we live in today, right? And that's, in fact, staffing industry analysts, I'm sure that they might even scope the percentage of contingent workers even higher globally. I don't know. It's going to vary in different regions, but anyway. What's the most common type of roles today, Sunil, from your perspective, what you do at your firm, and which are the most competitive?
Well, there's a number of types that are very popular nowadays, but here in Silicon Valley, what we're seeing are IT and engineering positions that are probably the strongest. But you're seeing a number of other professional roles as well in sales and marketing and HR. I'll give you an example of a project that we worked on with Google at one point. It was to hire 500 recruiters in a span of 9 months in contract positions. So, when you're hiring, whatever it is you're hiring, you need scores of teams to help you. So, the whole economy benefits from that perspective. And when Silicon Valley is leading, then other parts of the country also start coming along. So, it's a good time right now to be hiring, to be an employee, to be looking for work, because you'll typically find a job much faster. You'll have a lot of competitive offers as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think I have a good idea. I don't want to be the expert here, though, obviously, today. I don't want to be the one that has the answer to this question. I think I already have it, but I'm gonna ask you, and forgive, I'm buzzing with a caffeine boost at the moment. So if somebody already covered this 2 minutes ago, I missed it because I'm IV. I've got an IV drip with caffeine going into it right now. But you know what I mean. But anyways, did somebody mention what the most competitive contractor roles are today? So did we go down that road yet, or what the most common types of contractor roles are, or contingent roles?
But there's, I mean, it just depends on the company you are, but there's so many.
Right.
That's the thing. Right now, there's so many. So, for example, in user experience and design, it's extremely popular right now.
Yeah.
Application development, mobile development, very popular. Healthcare IT is taking off because of a lot of the initiatives that are happening in ACA and a variety of other areas. So it's not just one pocket, unfortunately. It's everywhere. Unless you're oil and gas, then you're perhaps not hiring as much.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Good point. So according to MBO Partners research, independents are important and positive contributors to the economy, right? We've got revenues, we're talking about $1.15 trillion in 2015 alone, right? That's huge. How is this impacting employer full-time sourcing and hiring today, in your view?
Well, it certainly is, because you have a smaller talent pool to attract talent from. And so it certainly is having an impact, because more and more people are deciding to become freelancers or independent workers, or perhaps even do something on the side to supplement income. So that is a trend that is not going to go away. And what it does do is it affects the talent pool overall, because less people are available for perhaps full-time or other types of employment. But what is interesting, and I like to talk about this subject, because I think there's going to be some changes that are going to have to be made eventually to either accommodate more independent or freelance workers, or it's just not going to sustain. I'll tell you why. The IRS today depends, to the tune of 90% of its revenue comes from some sort of employment-related tax, right?
Right.
And it's around 45 to 50% that's all employee and employer-related tax. But then they also have Social Security and Medicare. And that contributes, like I said, up to 90% of the total revenues that it collects on an annual basis, which is a tune of $3 trillion. Now, if that starts to reduce because of independent workers, and independent workers are self-employed, so employers are not contributing to their taxes. They also don't pay taxes regularly. They're paying them quarterly typically, right? So that has a major effect on the revenues that the IRS collects, which means that there's got to be some structural tax changes that eventually accommodates for this, so that the country doesn't suffer from a collection of revenue perspective, right? So these are things to keep an eye on the horizon, because they may affect how independent workers are allowed to work and how taxes are collected over time.
Well, that
interesting angle.
You just said something. I'm a huge econ junkie, so and man, we could do another series of shows about what you just brought up right now, because the impact could be quite dramatic in multiple countries, not just the U.S. alone, but especially in the U.S. based on our archaic tax structure. The thing I do want to point out, though, is this is what we're seeing now, the impact of what we're kind of calling, which is really a misnomer, but the sharing economy, the sharing organizations.
We're going down that road, aren't we? The sharing.
Well, no, but I mean,
I've heard it all.
But this is true. It's the Ubers, it's the Airbnbs, it's the companies that the fix-it companies that are all contracting out their work. And then anyway, so it is. There's a lot of things.
Hey, Kevin, I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah. I love this stuff, but I don't want to diverge too much away from the topic. But anyway. So, but you know what? Let's bring it back. But thanks, Sunil. That's a very important point that you brought up. But let's talk about this. I come from myself. I'm more on the vendor side, the solution provider side, the ATS side, et cetera, HR and recruiting technology. And I know that a lot of today firms, organizations, companies are actually partner with their RPO staffing firms, or just internally managing talent acquisition under one big umbrella that includes permanent and contingent workforce, right, with a single sourcing methodology and that leveraging whatever technology platforms they have or actually buying systems that are unified. But anyway, long story short, how do you recommend today employers maximize this approach if they really truly are bringing talent acquisition under one umbrella?
Well, what you're going to find is that a number of companies are evolving in this space, provide what I call, and I think the industry is starting to call, either total talent acquisition or total talent management.
Yep. Right.
And that's a space that you got to keep an eye on, because what it's going to do is consolidate the variety of approaches. There's no reason we need different platforms to manage our contingent workers and then also use a different platform for hiring our full-time employees and or even freelancers. There's freelance management systems too.
Right.
So watch for consolidation, because the technology providers, all they have to do is either integrate these solutions together, which some of the companies have been acquiring a variety of solutions to augment their current offering. So, for example, you have VMS providers that are acquiring FMS or freelance management systems, right, and then integrating with applicant tracking systems. So you'll find
right,
either acquisitions or integrations happening. And as a buyer of these technologies, what you need to do is just ask the right questions about what is the strategy for consolidating, what is the strategy for bringing it all together so I don't have to manage the hiring of workers in multiple places.
Right. Well, can you tell us, I think this is a nice segue into, I'm just really curious to hear your view on crowd staffing services and how you are helping companies source and hire contingent workers. Tell us just a little bit more about Zenith. And Zenith Talent is kind of a cool name. So I think I want to start with why the name, and then maybe get into a little bit more nitty-gritty around this whole crowd staffing model.
Yep, sure. So thank you for asking that question. Zenith Talent, when I think about talent, I think about really, at the end of the day, what makes talent the best and most amazing and is at the highest level and pinnacle, and that's where the word Zenith came from, is talent at the highest level. So we really want to focus on driving that over a long period of time. And it comes from a story about Michelangelo. I don't know if you guys have ever been to in Florence, Italy, and seen the statue of David. But if you ever get a chance to... I have
not, by the way.
I have.
It's beautiful.
I actually have, which I've been fortunate to do. My wife and I did, back
that's so fun.
Years ago. Yeah.
It's slown out of one piece of marble, and it's about 50 feet high. And the beautiful thing about it is you can actually see the veins in the muscles, and it's just
nice.
It's really called a masterpiece for that reason. And what's amazing is when the tour guide tells a story about Michelangelo, and Michelangelo is asked the question, well, how did you create this masterpiece? And he says, well, I wasn't really trying to create a masterpiece. The masterpiece is already within, dormant, perhaps sleeping, and all I did was chip away the pieces that didn't belong so that it could shine from within and come out. And see, I have a similar belief about people. Everybody has innate abilities and talent, and all we need to do sometimes is just help showcase that ability and talent in a meaningful way so they can fulfill their truest potential. So that's where Zenith Talent comes from.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's
and it's
exciting.
kind of a vision.
I love hearing
it's
that,
a mission.
Yeah. As a brand strategist, that's what gets me up every morning is like, how that all came to fruition for you. Because everyone has a story, right? Every brand has a back channel, a set of life circumstances that becomes what it becomes, right? So tell us more specifically around crowd staffing. Like there may be people in our audience who want to kind of understand that, just what that is.
Sure. And crowd staffing is a brand that we have just recently launched. So you're going to be hearing more and more about it. In fact, you can go to the website today and take a look at crowdstaffing.com. So it's a brand and a service that we've just launched, but it really focuses on total talent acquisition, which is if you need to hire contingent or full-time, through one common platform, we can help you make that happen. And what's unique about what crowd staffing is, because you've heard terminology called crowdsourcing in the past. Crowdsourcing basically is using the power of a crowd to help you hire, right? And that can happen in many different flavors and ways. And the way we've chosen to do it, which I think is very unique in the marketplace, is we've created a marketplace platform where we engage with independent recruiters that can be globally located in the U.S. and other parts of the world to help us source amazing talent in parallel. Like we're talking about teams of recruiters working in parallel around the world to help source local talent for our clients. And our clients include companies like Dell and SpaceX and Google. In fact, we're the number one staffing supplier at Google using the crowd staffing model. And the model works wonders because of one simple reason. It's based on the incentive model for the recruiter. We actually pay them on a profit-sharing basis, so they become entrepreneurs rather than employees. And it talks a lot to the sharing economy. We believe in an inverted pyramid where everybody benefits. In fact, the recruiters benefit tremendously. Up to 60% of the profit gets shared with them. And why that works is because they have a huge vested interest. They want to succeed for themselves, and we're giving them a platform to do so.
But so Neil, so just so I understand, so is this your proprietary technology then, and or the platform itself, or is it? That's my first question. Is it yours? Okay.
Yeah.
So and then the network of recruiters then. So it in a sense, so is it kind of like a modified contract recruiting methodology then? I mean, if they're profit sharing, so it's not based on specifically commission. It's a different kind of a structure, the way that they get paid or generate revenue.
Yeah. So it is basically profit sharing based. So we share net profit for every placement that's made, and if it's a contract placement, it's for the duration of the placement as long as the contract is on assignment. And the benefit here is, again, there's engagement throughout the process. There's a vested interest, and if you look at recruiters, they want a steady stream of positions to work on from amazing clients, and that's what we provide for them. We also provide the support structure for them, the tools that they need to be successful, a large database in which for them to attract the right talent. So we're doing a lot of things to help them be in business without feeling like they're being in business alone, right? And that's what we help them do.
Can you give us? Okay.
No, I just got one more quick question. Sorry. One more quick question about. No, I'm just trying to. So is this then? But is it based on 90 days in the seat then for perm positions, or is it across the board? And I'm just curious on what constitutes an official hire then for them to reap the benefits.
Yeah. We have the normal guarantees and performance guarantees that that would be typical in staffing firms, because we're trying to basically not uproot the current model, but fit right in. So, for example, if it's an MSP that we work with, we plug right in just as if a normal staffing supplier would. But in the back, we have this massive platform of recruiters that can work on all the positions in tandem. We can scale faster because we have all these recruiters working in parallel, but also each recruiter has their own specialty. So, for example, some are specialists in marketing, others are specialists in IT, and we're able to cover niche positions and broad positions very well.
Excellent.
Well, that sounds really cool. I know there's a lot of vendors playing in this. And when I say a lot of vendors playing in this space, everyone is, I think, realizing this idea of we're all becoming more entrepreneurial. We're all becoming more incentivized to take that initiative. So I think it's really an exciting space, and I give you a lot of kudos for being so innovative and early in this, in this whole space. You know, we're
thanks
down
again.
to, my gosh, we only have a minute left. Do you want to leave us with your
We have
quick
10 seconds
3
left.
tips for 10 seconds? 3 tips for hiring talent to maximize results. You're on.
Well, too much to say for that, but what I would say is, you know, the way talent is being hired is evolving, so you need to think differently today. That's all I'll say.
Excellent.
Right.
Well, listen,
and
thank you, Sunil. Let's jump on the Twitter chat now. We totally appreciate your time being on the show today, and let's do the Twitters now.
Thank you
Thanks,
for
Sunil.
having me on the show.
Take care.
You got it. Take care. We'll
Great.
talk soon.
Okay.